Isn't it sad that we can't have more detail in our Minecraft builds? What if using commands, we could?
But let me be clear on one thing. This is not my creation. I don't want any credit for it because I didn't make any of this. This was all entirely made by Marblade on my Discord, and you guys can check that post out on my Discord. I would just highly recommend it. But also just leave a comment for Marmalade because this was not me. I saw this posted in my Discord and figured this was just way too cool to not show off. But let's get into a little bit of some of the stuff that's going on. With this tool, there's all kinds of stuff you can do. You can turn any block into a block entity and then select it, and then boom, you can mess around with it. You can rotate it. You can just get it into like the exact position that you want it to be in and let it maneuver there. And then you can just have these as these really cool decorative blocks and you can place them all over. You can even, if you want to change the block super easily, boom, you just, change it to any block that you want just by looking at these other blocks. I mean, look at that. And two, one of the other cool things about this is you can actually like manipulate multiple of these blocks at the same time. The creator of this just did an amazing job making this work just really functionally well in a way that's just super easy to control and kind of do all this kind of stuff with it. Now, this video is more of just kind of a showcase of this feature, just to really show that there's actually so much we can do with Bedrock commands. And one of the things I really want to see is what can you guys come up with to make from this? I am not a good builder. I am not creative. The most creative thing I could think of was just a little stone arch. But I know that there's a ton of building stuff you guys can do with this type of technology, and I really want to see what you guys can do. Now, how do you get this yourself? Well, right now the creator Marmalade has all this posted on my Discord. The link will be in the description and probably at the end of the video. And what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to put some of this stuff into a pack, and maybe I can work with the creator and make my own little pack that you guys can install yourselves. That way it's a little bit easier for you guys to add this to your own world. So that would be including the structures that you need as well as the actual like functions that you're going to need. So I'll work with him and we'll make sure permission to get that. So that way you guys can manipulate and add this to your own world pretty easily. Now what you are going to need to do is once you have this pack added to your world, you will need to, number one, type in this function and type in initialize. You're going to need to type that in, number one. And number two, you're going to have to put this command into a repeating command block and make sure it's always active. So nothing too complicated with that as far as what's required on setup. And also, I didn't really do all that good of a job on this arch. I didn't make it all that symmetrical. I kind of was just messing around with stuff. So I really want to see what you guys can actually make with this function. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you do need any help, I'll just do a brief little tutorial on how this works. So you are going to have these 4 different tools. So the mace is like the place tool. Basically hover over a block, it's going to highlight it. Then you want to right click, and that is going to turn that block into a block entity. Pretty simple. Then in order to do anything with it, you're going to need to select it with the breeze rod. So as soon as I right click with this, it's going to be selected, and if I punch with it, it's going to deselect it. And I can select, multiple, as you guys can see over here. I have these ones select. I'm actually going to unselect these ones here. Just manipulating this one. Now with this, there's 2 different things you can do with this crystal tool. So the first one is you want to look at any of these axes. So like look at the glass pane, and then you just kind of rotate your head around and it's going to rotate with you. That's sort of what's going on here. So you can see I'm kind of looking up and down, and it's kind of looking up and down with me, but like inversely. So you can also adjust the amount that it does that, I believe, by punching. I kind of forget what the punching does. It changes the offset somehow. But it does something. I don't know. It changes the way it rotates. I forget exactly how it works. But then as soon as you want to, basically, you have it at the rotation you want to lock it in, you're going to right click, boom, that axis is locked in. Let's say now I want to rotate this rotation. Boom, I click it, and then I click anywhere to freeze it in place. Same thing with this. Spin it to where I want, lock it in place. Now, the one thing that I think was slightly bugged, and maybe he'll have this fixed, or maybe I was doing something wrong, is that you guys can see in the bottom here that the way to cycle mode is to press Q. Every time I do that, it does cycle the mode, but it also drops it. So I have like this data lock chest that gives it back to me. and then you have to cycle it twice. I think that's bugged. It should give it back to you. I'm not sure why it doesn't, but that's just the case. Anyways, if you drop it twice, it's going to switch modes, and you can see that instead of a glass pane, you're going to get these like little blocks. So what you want to do for this is the actual movement tile. Look right at one of these blocks and then right click with it, and you can see what's going on. You can move this back and forth. So boom, and then click anywhere when you want to lock it in place. You do have to be pretty accurate with your clicks. Make sure you're right on the money. But boom, that is what you can do. And then I can deselect it. Boom, now it's locked in place. I can reselect it. Press the wrong button. I'm still not used to the controls. It's literally, I made this video like after messing around with this for 20 minutes. You can see I can literally replace it with any block that I want. And that is the quick and dirty tutorial. That being said, there's a whole lot of stuff you guys can do with this. I do really want to see it. I might make a video if you guys are good at building and you guys use this tool to make some cool builds. I'll probably do a follow-up video that is showcasing this tutorial. So that being said, I will look to get this into a pack so that way it's easier to share with you guys as long as I get permission from the owner. If not, like I said, join up on the Discord. You'll be able to download the pack directly from the owner. It is pretty sick. It really showcases the actual level of what we can do with commands. Now you might say, where are the command blocks? Well, they are in a function file, so it's technically a whole bunch of commands. It theoretically would work in command blocks, but this is just a way easier way to share it with you, keeping it in a function file. So I hope you guys enjoy. And also, a huge shout out to Marmalade, not just for making something that's like really cool, but also how he spent a lot of time like making the UI for this. Like, look at this. When I select it, it actually covers it in a slightly larger glass block. And then when I'm actually wanting to move it around, all of these rods that you see here, those are extra FMVEs. Like, those are extra mobs. He added that just to make it easier from like a user standpoint. And I've dug through the actual files. There's like hundreds of commands going into this project. So this is super well done. Really a good showcase of what's possible in Bedrock commands. I hope you guys enjoy. I hope you guys find this useful, and I just really want to see what you guys make. Anyways, thanks for watching. Bye. This is post-editing Guppy, by the way. I just want you guys to just get a glimpse of, and let me even scroll all the way to the right over here. Oh my word. So, if you guys are curious, the type of work and effort that went into this project, think of this. Every line here that you guys are seeing is effectively one command block. Like, this is crazy. If I scroll down to the end, how many lines is that? 633 lines, if you see that at the bottom. So this is 600 command blocks worth of work that he did for this project. And I'm pretty sure he's still working on it. I think there's more stuff that he's looking to add to it. And Marmalade, if you're watching this video, something that'd be really cool is if you had a function to scale the size of the blocks, like make them bigger or smaller. But I mean, this is just incredible, guys. This is some serious work. Please show some love for Marmalade in the comments because this is just phenomenal stuff. So, thank you guys for watching.